welcome back to Curl Gaming, where we discuss all things video games. Today we're going to go back to some of my favorite roots, and that's pinball machines. This is an older title. I figured I'd do the video before the game is gone, which is going to be in a few days. I have cycled through quite a few games, which I did not get video footage for, so I do apologize for that. But with that being said, let's break into Mr and Mrs Pac-Man Pinball by Bally. And there's a few things in the footage that I have never done before, which I'm pretty proud of. We'll come back and discuss.
Just line up, try your luck. Pac-Man.
Slow, throat shot ahead. Saucer. Pac-Man aggressive. Get ready. 3, 2, 1, go. Aggressive. Get ready. 3, 2, 1, go. Slow, throat shot ahead. Get ready. 3, 2, 1, go. Time for Pac-Man. Slow, still shot ahead. Pac-Man saucer. Pac-Man. Slow, still shot again.
Really? Kidding me.
Just line up. Try your luck.
Slow, still shot again. Pac-Man aggressive. Get ready. 3, 2, 1, go. Get ready. 3, 2, 1, go. Gotcha. Get going. Get going. Gotcha. Pac-Man.
Alright, welcome back. Hopefully you like that look at Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man Pinball by Bally. Yes, that's the full name, Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man. As for the things I've never done before was getting 2 consecutive skill shots back to back, let alone getting 1. And I believe in all the footage I got 3, so I'm pretty proud of that. That is easily one of the hardest shots ever in pinball. Yes, it's a skill shot, but you just have to get it bang on, and my game is leveled and pitched properly. But it's usually once in a blue moon when I do get that skill shot, so I'm pretty happy with that. This is one of the first games I did without the glass on. Reason why, it's because going back and seeing my other footage, I do have older equipment, so it doesn't capture as nice. So I figured try it without the glass, because I know there's not a lot of air balls, let alone any air balls on this. So I figured it was a safe bet. Another thing I did with this game was all the controlled lights have been ripped out, so I removed those old flaky Bally sockets and I installed Yopsicles. For those that don't know, Yopsicles is basically just a little stick with an LED on it. Can get them in a variety of colors, and they are basically tailored made for classic Bally and classic Stern games, and I'm pretty impressed with the results. So if I ever get any more classic Bally games like Flash Gordon or anything like that, something in this time frame, I would highly recommend it. I believe they are kind of, I don't want to say they're expensive, Canadian wise. I think I paid close to $1 a piece, but Pinball Medics had a little bit, I think it was a little bit of a break if you bought so many and the price came down. But if you go to Pinball Medics now, as the time of this video and writing, they do have the tariffs on there, just so you know, the reciprocal tariffs of 25%. I hope this goes away soon, because it is hindering our hobby in a very negative way. But anyway, sidetrack. So I did do the obstacles on this as well. There's an all-tech board in there for the MPU, so it is on free play. And I believe one of the lamp boards is also in an all-tech one. So displays and everything else are original. As you can see, the play field, it's not too bad. It does have a few wear spots on it. Doesn't affect gameplay. The game was loved. The cabinet, pretty impressed with that. Very little to no cabinet fade and very little dings for its age. It spent most of its life on location, and then they mylarked most of it. Another thing I did do an upgrade on was the Pac-Man maze. I ripped out the old one and I installed a new LED one, so it's nice and bright. Still have the original, so the new owner is going to get that as well. Very simple game, but very hard to master. Basically, the whole goal is to complete a maze. Just fill it up as fast as you can. So you have to do it within a certain time limit. Well, I don't say within a certain time limit. You need to beat your time is basically what it is. How many moves it's going to take you, and your lives. So your life counter is at the bottom there. One thing I don't think I did on this video was, just like the arcade, there's like the exit so you can go out one side of the screen, come back on the other. With the Pac-Man maze on here, doesn't matter what side you go on, you can actually go out from one side, come on the other, or go up the top, come out the bottom. Same thing, go out the bottom and show up on the top. And a lot of people forget that. I know I usually do when I'm in the heat of the moment. Friends and family, when they come over and play, figure that you can't go past that line, and then by accident when they do go past and your character or your Pac-Man shows up on the other side. Well, I didn't know you could do that. You can. Don't think that's I don't think that's stated very well in the instruction cards, but you can. So just keep that in mind. It's an interesting game for sure. And I do recommend it for people that are familiar, well, I don't want to say familiar with the franchise, but are looking to find like an older game. Yeah, the layout is weird with 2 offset pops and 3 flippers, and then you've got your 3 banks of drops, which is really bizarre, and then you have the 2 Pac-Man saucers. So to start the modes in that. With that being said, it does hit everything, does have a lot of sound effects from the arcade game that have been transported over. And I think it's a fairly decent representation, and this of course was at the time when arcade games started eclipsing pinball machines during sales. So yeah, I can see how they started doing the IPs, hence why you also saw like Flash Gordon, and then there's also, I believe, Defender, Spy Hunter, Joust. There's a bunch of old Bally games that are based on arcade properties. So anyway, let me know what your thoughts are. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Have you played Pac-Man or Mr. and Mrs Pac-Man Pinball? There was a lot made. I'm not sure how many survived, but if you go through databases like either on Pinside or Internet Pinball Database, they pretty much made 10,000 of these. I know you're going to say that's a lot, but other ones have surpassed that number quite easily. So 10,000 in the 80s, not too bad. Like I think High Speed and maybe even Firepower, stuff like that, and even Flash beat it. But just so you know, there was a lot of the play fields are completely blown out. There's a few that I've seen that are really nice, but then the caps completely faded or trash. So kind of a trade-off. I'm going to say my play field's about average, and then the cab is above average on mine. But yeah, I did sell it, so she's going to be going away in a couple days here. And I do have some surprises that I'll be showing later. So anyway, let me know what your thoughts are. Thumbs up, thumbs down. If this is your first time tuning into the channel, feel free to subscribe, because I always upload on a regular basis, at least once a week. And I'll catch you all next time. Thank you.